Okay, let's start with a little mental exercise.
Oh.
I want you to open your phone. Mentally, don't actually do it. Stay with me here. And scroll through your favorite feed. Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever your poison is. What do you see?
I can tell you exactly what you see. You see the big three.
The big three.
Talent, money, and success. It's the holy trinity of the modern world. You see the athlete with the freakish talent doing something physically impossible, the entrepreneur with the valuation that looks like a phone number, and the influencer living the perfect life on a yacht in Dubai.
It's relentless, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a constant barrage of, look what I achieved, look what I bought, look how skilled I am. And we are absolutely obsessed with it. I mean, we structure our entire educational system, our corporate ladders, even our parenting around these three things. We want to be talented, we want to be rich, and we want to be successful.
And look, those things aren't bad. Let's be clear right off the bat. It's nice to have money. It's great to be talented. Nobody is saying you should aim to be broke and unskilled. But we have a source on the desk today, Architect of the Soul, the character-building blueprint, that argues we are optimizing for the wrong variables. It suggests that while we are all frantically chasing the big three, we are ignoring a fourth element.
The invisible metric.
Exactly. An invisible metric that the source argues is actually more powerful, more valuable, and functionally more important than talent, money, and success combined.
And that element is character. Now, I have to be honest with you. When I first saw the title of this script, Build Your Character, Build Your Future, I had a moment of hesitation. I thought, is this going to be a lecture? Is this going to be a Sunday school lesson about being a nice boy?
Right. Eat your vegetables and be nice to your neighbor.
Exactly. Because in our culture, character often feels like the consolation prize. It's what you say about the guy who came in last place. Well, he didn't win the gold medal, but he has great character. It feels like the participation trophy of life attributes.
That is the exact misconception this source is trying to dismantle. This isn't a moralizing lecture about being good for the sake of being good. This is a structural argument. It's an engineering argument. The source is positing that character is the actual machinery that makes a life work. Without it, the other three, talent, money, success, are actually dangerous.
There's a line in the intro that really set the hook for me. It says, success makes you rich, but character makes you respected.
And that's the currency exchange rate we need to look at. Cash is a currency, obviously, but respect. Respect is a much stronger currency. You can lose all your money in a market crash. You can lose your talent to an injury. But respect is durable. It survives the crash. It survives the injury.
So our mission today is to strip this down. We aren't going to talk about virtue in a vague, abstract way. We're going to look at the mechanics. We're going to look at what the source calls alarm clock moments, the tiny split-second choices that define who you are when absolutely no one is watching.
And that phrase, when no one is watching, is where we have to start. That is the pivot point.
Let's dive into section 1 then, the definition of the invisible self. Because I think we conflate terms constantly. I treat character and reputation as synonyms. If I say John has good character, I usually just mean people like John.
Right, and that's a fatal error in definition. The source material draws a hard line here. It asks the core question, what is character? And it answers with the empty room test.
Walk us through that.
It's simple, but spooky. Character is not who you are when you're on a date. It's not who you are in the job interview. It's not who you are when you're posting on Twitter. That is reputation. That is persona. That is a performance designed for an audience. Character is who you are in the empty room. When the doors are locked, the lights are down, there are no cameras, and there is zero chance of anyone ever knowing what you did.
It's the software running in the background when the monitor's off.
Precisely. Reputation is your press release. Character is your operating system. And the source argues that most of us spend 99% of our energy polishing the press release and almost zero time debugging the operating system.
That's a killer analogy. We are obsessing over the UI, the user interface, while the back-end code is full of bugs.
And the source breaks down this back-end code into 4 specific pillars: honesty, discipline, attitude, and this is the one that I think trips the most people up, behavior toward those who cannot benefit you.
Oof, yeah, let's pause on that one. Behavior toward those who cannot benefit you. That is the ultimate stress test, isn't it?
It's the only test that matters in terms of integrity. Think about the corporate world. If you are junior staff, you are incredibly polite to the CEO. You laugh at his bad jokes, you hold the door, you bring him coffee, you memorize his kids' names. Is that character?
No, that's strategy. That's survival.
Exactly. Being nice to people who hold power over you is just basic biological survival instinct. It proves nothing about your soul. But How do you treat the Uber driver?
Ah.
How do you treat the janitor? How do you treat the waiter who messed up your order and spilled sauce on your shirt? These people have zero leverage over your career. You gain nothing transactionally by being kind to them.
So if you are kind in that moment, it's pure. It's not a transaction. It's an identity.
Correct. You aren't buying anything with that kindness. You are just being kind. The source calls this the choice factor. Anyone can pretend to be good when the incentives align. Strong character is defined by choosing to do the right thing specifically when the incentives don't align, when it costs you something.
That's the friction. If doing the right thing is easy, if telling the truth gets me a promotion, then I'm not necessarily honest. I'm just opportunistic.
Right. Character is only revealed when the truth costs you money, when the truth is embarrassing, when the truth loses you the sale. That's the invisible self coming online. That's when you find out what you're actually made of.
It's active resistance. It's swimming upstream.
It's a muscle. I love the gym analogy the source implies here. You don't build muscle by lifting styrofoam. You build muscle by lifting heavy iron that wants to crush you. You don't build character by doing easy things. You build it by encountering resistance, the desire to lie, the desire to be lazy, the desire to be cruel and pushing back against it.
Let's move to section 2, because this is where the source gets really analytical. The alchemy of success. It sets up a cage match. Character versus talent.
And in the modern world, talent is the heavy favorite. We are in the war for talent. We have talent shows. We idolize the genius. The narrative is, if you are smart, if you are athletic, if you are charismatic, you win. The world is designed to filter for talent.
But the source says, not so fast. It uses a racing metaphor. A skilled person wins a race. A disciplined person wins life.
Wins life, that's
Yeah.
a big statement. But the logic holds up when you look at the transformation equations the text provides. These were fascinating to me. The source argues that traits like success, power, and intelligence are actually neutral. They're just raw energy. Character is the variable that determines the polarity of that energy.
Let's break these equations down because they are the core of the argument. Let's start with success.
The equation is success minus character equals arrogance. But success plus character equals service.
We've all seen the first one, the success minus character guy. He gets a little bit of money or a verified check mark, and suddenly he's unbearable. He thinks he's a different species than the rest of us.
It's because the success amplifies his ego, and there is no character infrastructure to ground him. It's like pouring high-octane fuel into a car with no brakes. He speeds up, but he crashes. But look at the second part. Success plus character. When a person of character succeeds, they don't look in the mirror. They look out the window. They ask, okay, I have this money influence platform. How can I use it to help?
Success becomes a tool, not a trophy.
Exactly. Next equation. Power. Power minus character equals misuse. Power plus character equals protection.
This is the classic absolute power corrupts absolutely idea, but nuanced.
It is. Power is just physics. It's the ability to move things. Without the container of character, without ethics, without empathy, that ability to move things inevitably turns into moving things for your benefit, often at the expense of others. It becomes dominance. It becomes bullying. But with character, power becomes a shield. You use your strength to stand in front of people who are weak. You use your voice to speak for those who don't have one.
And the third one, and I think this is the most dangerous one in our current knowledge economy, is intelligence.
Intelligence minus character equals manipulation. Intelligence plus character equals wisdom.
That gives me chills, actually. Intelligence minus character equals manipulation.
It should give you chills. The most dangerous person in any room is the smartest person with the lowest character, because they have the processing power to rationalize anything. They can justify theft. They can justify cruelty. They can manipulate people efficiently. They are the smart sociopaths.
So character is the containment field.
Yes. Think of a nuclear reactor. The uranium is the talent, the raw potential, the heat, the power. But the reactor walls, that's character. If you have high-grade uranium, huge talent, and cracked walls, weak character, you don't get energy, you get Chernobyl.
That explains so many celebrity downfalls. We see these shooting stars, massive talent, massive early success, and then they implode. And we always ask why. They had everything.
They had the engine of a Ferrari and the chassis of a skateboard. The engine tore them apart. The weight of their own success crushed them because their character wasn't load-bearing.
Load-bearing character. I like that.
Right.
So how do we know if our character is load-bearing? Section 3 gives us the anatomy of consistency. It's a checklist.
It's an inspection list for the chassis. The source lists observable signs, first one. keeping promises.
Which sounds simple. I promise to do X.
It sounds simple until the context changes. It's easy to promise to help your friend move next Saturday when you're having a beer with him on Tuesday and feeling great. But when Saturday morning comes and it's raining and you're hungover and you're tired, that's the test.
The source has a great phrase for this. Honoring the promise even when the mood in which you made it has left you.
That is the definition of reliability. Can you perform without the mood? Can you deliver the goods when you don't feel like it?
Next on the list, accepting mistakes.
This is the anti-blame protocol. In a lot of organizations, and honestly in a lot of families, the default culture is cover your ass. Something goes wrong and everyone points fingers. It was marketing's fault. It was the vendor. It was the algorithm.
Blame is a shield for the ego.
A person of strong character drops the shield. They say, I messed that up. That's on me. Here is how I'm going to fix it. It's incredibly disarming. It stops the conflict instantly. It signals that you care more about the result than your image. It actually makes you more trusted, not less.
Then we have respecting everyone, which we touched on with the waiter test, and staying calm during problems.
Emotional regulation. This is huge. When the crisis hits, do you add chaos to the chaos, or do you absorb the chaos? A leader with character absorbs anxiety. They don't radiate it.
And finally, doing the right thing when it is hard. The source calls this the consistency principle.
This is about baseline performance. If you are honest 90% of the time, you aren't an honest person. You are a risk. Imagine a bridge that holds up 90% of the cars that drive over it. Would you drive on that bridge?
No way, I'm taking the ferry.
Exactly. Character is structural integrity. It has to be there 100% of the time, especially under load.
Okay, so we know what it is. We know why we need it, so we don't go Chernobyl. Now, the million-dollar question. How do we build it? Section 4, the micro-construction of character.
This is where we have to deprogram ourselves. Hollywood has ruined our understanding of character. We watch movies where the hero is a mess, and then bam, aliens invade. He flies a jet into the mothership, saves the world, and now he's a hero.
The redemption arc. We are waiting for the burning building so we can run in and prove we are brave. We want the cinematic moment.
Right. But the source says, debunking the big moment myth. Character is not forged in the fire of the big moment. It's forged in the quiet of the mundane moment. It is built in these small, daily choices.
The drip, drip, drip.
Exactly. And the source gets uncomfortably specific here. It talks about the morning battle.
The alarm clock.
The alarm clock.
Yeah.
The most humble and hated device in the human experience.
Okay, play devil's advocate here. I hit snooze 3 times this morning. Does that really mean I have bad character? Feels like a stretch. I'm just tired.
It feels harsh, I agree. But look at the logic. The night before, you made a contract. You, the rational planner, said, I will get up at 6 a.m. to work, outright meditate. You set the alarm. That was a promise.
Okay.
When the alarm goes off at 6 a.m., the rational planner is gone. Now you are dealing with the emotional animal. The animal wants comfort. The animal wants 5 more minutes. If you hit snooze, you are letting the animal break the contract made by the rational planner. You are starting your day with a breach of contract against yourself.
Wow. When you frame it as a breach of contract, that hits different.
And the danger isn't the 5 minutes of sleep. The danger is the signal. You are signaling to your subconscious, my word to myself is negotiable. If you can't keep a promise to yourself about getting out of bed, how are you going to keep a promise to yourself about holding your temper or working hard on that project?
It's the broken windows theory of the soul. If you let the small things slide, the big things eventually break.
Exactly. The source calls this the causality chain. Small decisions lead to habits. Habits lead to character. Character leads to destiny.
You can't build a destiny, but you can choose to get up.
That's it. Destiny's too big to lift. But the blanket, you can lift the blanket.
The source also applies this to the study grind or the work grind.
This is the difference between amateurs and professionals. Amateurs work when they feel like it, when they are motivated, when the lighting is perfect and the coffee is hot. Professionals work when they don't feel like it.
Discipline is disconnecting action from feeling.
That's the best definition I've heard. I don't feel like doing this, but I am doing it anyway. That gap between the feeling and the action is where character lives.
Then there's the truth test. White lies.
We do this constantly. Did you see that email? Oh yeah, sorry, it went to spam. No, it didn't. You forgot. Hey, we should get coffee sometime. Totally. No, you don't want to.
We do it to be polite, to smooth the social gears.
We do it to avoid micro discomfort. But every time you tell a small lie, you chip away at your identity as a truth teller. You become a person who manipulates reality for convenience. And eventually, when a big lie is necessary to save your skin, you'll be ready for it because you've been practicing on the small ones.
That's terrifying. We are training ourselves to be liars in 30-second increments.
Yes. And character is simply the sum of those increments.
So we build character by choosing the hard path in small moments. But sometimes we don't get to choose. Sometimes the hard path finds us. Section 5, the crucible of adversity.
This is about the things we don't invite to the party. Failure, rejection, heartbreak, loneliness.
The source lists these as antagonists, but then it flips the script. It says we need to view them as shaping forces.
The metaphor here is metallurgy. Gold. How do you get pure gold? You find a rock with some gold in it and you put it in a furnace. You heat it up until everything melts. The impurities, the dross burn away or float to the top, and what's left is the pure metal.
Just like fire makes gold pure, difficulties make your character strong.
Adversity is the furnace. When you fail, it burns off your arrogance. When you are lonely, it burns off your dependency on other people's validation. When you are rejected, it burns off your entitlement. It is painful, but it is a purification.
So the advice here isn't just suck it up, it's don't waste the pain.
Exactly. Most people, when they hit a hard time, try to numb it. They binge Netflix, they drink, they scroll TikTok for 6 hours. They're trying to escape the furnace.
They're jumping out of the fire before the gold is purified.
Right. And so they stay impure, they stay weak. The source argues, sit in the fire. Ask, what is this teaching me? If you lost your job, sit with the fear. Let it teach you about your own resilience. Let it show you that you are not defined by your title. If you run away, you suffer the pain, but you don't get the growth.
That brings us to section 6. We've talked about building character. Now let's talk about the cost of ignoring it. The fragility of reputation.
The source calls this hollow success. This is the person who cheats on the exam, lies on the resume, or stabs a colleague in the back to get the promotion.
And the tricky part is, it works.
In the short term, that's why it's seductive. Cheating does get you the A. Lying does get you the job. It feels like a hack.
But the source calls this the trust economy. You are borrowing against your future.
You are taking out a payday loan on your soul, high interest rates, because eventually the truth comes out, or eventually people realize you are empty, and once trust is broken, it's a non-renewable resource.
The quote that hit me hard here was, reputation is built in years and destroyed in seconds.
We see it every week in the news. A CEO, a politician, a celebrity, they spend 30 years building a career. And then one moment of weak character, one lie, one bribe, one act of harassment, and it's gone, vaporized. Because the reputation, what people thought of them, was heavier than the character, who they actually were. The structure collapsed.
This feels especially relevant in the age of social media. We are living in the image age.
We are optimizing for the lens. We have filters for our faces and filters for our lives. We curate the highlight reel. We want the applause of success without the sweat of character.
Image impresses. Character inspires.
That's the distinction to hold on to. You might be impressed by someone's follower count. You might be impressed by their six-pack abs. But are you inspired? Do they make you want to be a better human? Usually not. But when you see someone forgive an enemy, when you see someone sacrifice their own comfort for a stranger, that hits you in the chest. That inspires.
So we want to be inspiring, not just impressive. We want to be people of value. How do we do it? The source closes with a blueprint for action. Section 7. 7 practical steps.
And I want to get granular here. Let's not just read the headers. Let's talk tactics. How do we actually do this on a Tuesday afternoon?
Agreed. Step 1. Be honest. Truth-telling even when uncomfortable.
Tactic. Kill the social lie. When someone invites you to a party you don't want to go to, don't say, I might be busy, let me check. Say, I appreciate the invite, but I'm running on fumes and need a quiet night. It's scary for 3 seconds, but people actually respect it more. You stop dragging them along.
Step 2. Practice discipline. Relying on discipline, not motivation.
Tactic, the do it badly rule. If you don't feel like writing, say, I will write 1 terrible paragraph. If you don't feel like running, say, I will run for 5 minutes slowly. Lower the barrier to entry so that you can start. Action creates motivation, not the other way around.
Step 3. Take responsibility.
Yeah.
The end of blaming others.
Tactic, delete yeah, but from your vocabulary. If your boss says, this report is late, don't say, yeah, but IT was down. Say, you're right, it is late. I should have accounted for the IT issues. It won't happen again.
That is a superpower. It stops the lecture immediately.
It signals confidence. Only a confident person can own a mistake. Insecure people deflect. Secure people accept.
Step 4. Respect everyone.
tactic. The eye contact challenge. When you interact with a cashier, a waiter, or a cleaner, make eye contact and ask a genuine question. How's your shift going? Treat them as a protagonist in their own movie, not an NPC in yours.
Step 5. Control emotions. Responding wisely versus reacting impulsively.
Tactic, the 24-hour rule. We've all written that angry email.
Oh yeah, the per my last email rage.
Yeah. Write it. Vent. Get it all out on the screen, and then, save to drafts, walk away. If you still want to send it 24 hours later, go ahead.
Yeah.
Spoiler, you won't. You will delete it and write a calm, strategic response. Reaction is weakness. Response is strength.
Step 6. Choose good company.
Tactic, the audit. Look at your last 10 text conversations. Are they complaining, gossiping, or are they talking about ideas? Plans, growth, emotional contagion is real. You catch the moods and the morals of the people you text.
Step 7. Keep learning.
This one is meta. You're doing it right now, listening to this deep dive. Ignorance breeds arrogance. Learning breeds humility. The more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. That humility is the soil character grows in.
It's a solid blueprint. Now let's land this plane. Section 8. Inner strength and the final verdict. The source redefines strength.
It moves strength from the physical, financial to the internal. It introduces the 4 stays.
Inner strength helps you stay strong in failure, stay humble in success, stay kind in a cruel world, stay hopeful in difficult times.
Stay kind in a cruel world. That is the heavy lifter. It is so easy to become cynical. It is so easy to say, everyone is out for themselves, so I will be too. To keep your heart open, to remain generous when you have been burned. That is the hardest thing a human can do. That is true toughness.
And finally, the source asks us to fast forward to the very end, the eulogy test.
What will they remember? The source is brutal here. They won't remember your grades. They won't remember your salary. They won't remember your job title.
I always think about that. Nobody puts Senior VP of Marketing on a tombstone.
No. They will remember how you made them feel. They will remember if you were safe to be around. They will remember if you told the truth. They will remember if you showed up.
So character is the only thing you take with you and the only thing you leave behind.
It is your true legacy.
The source ends with a call to action. Start today.
Yeah.
Work hard silently.
That's the key. You don't need to post on Instagram, day 1 of building my character. You don't need a hashtag. Just do the work. In the dark.
Yeah.
In the empty room.
So here's our final thought for you. The source says, physical strength may win fights, but inner strength helps you stay kind in a cruel world.
That's the nugget.
I want you to think about tomorrow morning. 6 a.m. or whenever that alarm goes off, that is your first test. That is the empty room. Are you going to hit snooze and break the contract? Or are you going to get up and put a brick in the wall of your character?
The choice is yours. And nobody's watching but you.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you in the next one.